Good evening, everybody in the Smite community and the Animosity community. We are back today with week 3 of the Jotunheim Divisions games. Midgard Serpents going up against Helix Housewives. Sorry, not Hot Wives. But, I'm very excited to see how these games go. I'm joined here by amazing people in the casting booth. Curry, King Curvis, and our lovely spectator Omni. I wonder how everybody's doing today. How are you guys doing?
Feeling good. How about you, Yang?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
I'm doing well as well. Looking forward to the
That is
games tonight.
that is splendid. We're going to most likely take it to a quick break. Also, I'm sorry. How is the chat doing this fine evening, everybody? How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing amazing. I hope you guys are looking forward to this amazing game. Games, plural. Sorry, a little late for me. But we're going to go ahead and take it to a quick break and while we get set up for picks and bans. So you guys stay tuned and there's going to be amazing games coming up very soon. All right, and we are back. I am joined here on the desk by my lovely co-host, Recurry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, man. Let's get into these picks and bans with Midgard Serpents and Helix Housewives.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what picks and bans they're gonna do and what type of comps they're trying to pull. Looks like Midgard Serpent's going to start off the ban phase by banning out Amaterasu, which some people say she's very strong, some people don't say that, but we're excited to see it banned out.
Yep. We also do have an RDO ban on the side of Helix Housewives. Atlas, one of the, I'd say, personally strongest supports in the game right now, banned away on the side of Midgard Serpents, just making sure that character does not make it onto the map. Very good ban out
Most
here.
likely, yeah. And Helix Housewives going to ban Klidna. Very strong objective wise assassin, very good at securing and dishing out damage in team fights. And Midgard Serpent's going to go ahead and ban out the Thoth, which we've seen it in plenty games and like quite a lot recently. Very strong mid laner. And Helix Housewives going to go ahead and ban out Bastet. She's been picked quite a lot ever since her rework, so more common ban, I'd say.
We do have an Almuz and Cobb, however, it's definitely a very potent pick, both in mid and ADC. Does get locked in here. Curious to see where they end up putting him in. Have a lot of flex potential in the ADC and mid role right now.
Yeah, he really shows out in the mid lane most of the time. It's still exciting to see him in the ADC lane. And Helix Housewives going to go ahead and lock in the Athena for support most likely, and a Danzaburo to round out their ADC. And that will conclude their duo lane, which is I'd say it's a very strong team comp for duo. Excited to see how they do it.
Definitely interesting prioritizing the dual lane this early, especially when Athena and Danzaburo pick. I wouldn't say they're the most ideal characters to be picking. They probably have some form of interest in drafting this double taunt, especially with Danzaburo 2 not being effective with DRs. It's going to be interesting having to deal with that form of pressure in terms of CC. Keb blocked in outside of Midgard Serpents. Really strong peel for this AMC, making sure that he just gets out. And
They
can
are going
also
to go ahead and pick the Loki, which, it's a very strong jungle pick. It sets up a lot of skill potential and a lot of team fights. Excited to see how it's going to be utilized. And for the Helix Housewives to round off the first pick phase is they're going to go ahead and lock in the Odin for solo, which has really shown here and there, I must say. What do you think about it?
he's definitely fallen off quite a bit. Still think he's definitely a potent solo laner. Still has a bit of flex in jungle and support, but I doubt we'll be seeing him there today. More than likely in the solo lane with this Athena being knocked in. We do have a Zeus ban at mid as well. It's a character that, with the book build having transitioned out and into a double pen, struggles a little bit more. I've always considered Zeus more of the mid to close range mage. Requires a lot of space to get his burst off, I'd say.
Oh, most likely, most definitely. I do want to say for the chat, there is going to go ahead and be predictions live if you guys want to go ahead and bet your channel points and see who's going to come out on top. Just wanted to give that shout out to everybody, so you guys are looking forward to that.
We have a Persephone ban, another mid laner banned away from both rosters. Camazotz. This character does not appear to die, both in game and in the meta. He's been nerfed multiple times over the past few patches. Still getting banned away. I'd say personally he's still a top ban. Do have a Scylla
Yo,
pickup too.
yes. He doesn't really necessarily do as much damage, I would say, as he once did, but he's still very strong. Very, very, very safe pick, in my opinion.
Definitely agree. We have both mid laners, some very interesting picks here actually locked in with Raw and Scylla. What do you think of both of these mids?
I really like the picks. Ra, I mean, he's a very safe pick, especially with his passive being able to kind of just run around the mid lane and not really get caught off too much, especially with the speed boost. Excited to see how this rat, I'm guessing, is going solo or Loki solo. Excited to see which goes where. I really hope it's rat solo, more or less, because Loki is just more lethal, in my opinion, in jungle. So it's exciting to see how they pull that off. And we are seeing another Arachne jungle. I haven't really seen Arachne pick too much in these comp games, especially until like more or less this week. So it's like exciting to see how that's going to be played here.
Like,
And Rikuri, in your words, who do you think won the draft in the first game?
I believe it's hard to say here. I like the focus of this dual lane. You have
Oh,
a very strong team fight from the side of Helix Housewives, but this DPS on the side of
oh,
Midgard is very
oh,
interesting.
okay. It is all right. So it was a bug. My apologies, guys. They locked in Jormungandr. All right, so that will be their solo laner. So it'll be really exciting to see how this is going to be played out. If I had to give it to any team, I definitely would say it's very close. But in terms of team fights, I'm really edging towards Midgard Serpents having a better draft, especially in the first game. So it's exciting to see how they kind of pull this through. So we're going ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the action in the first game. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Good evening, gamers. We're here with game one of Midgard Serpents versus Helix Housewives. I'm King Kerbis on chair one, followed by my second caster, Recurry. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well tonight. After picks and bans, definitely some very interesting characters I haven't seen in a while. Raw, I get touched upon quite a bit. It's a very, I'd say, unsafe god into this draft. You have an Arachne, you have this Odin. It's going to be looking to kill this Raw most of the game. The
I'm
side
excited to
of
see Arachne in a comp game for once, with her spiders having that bug for a long time. I hadn't seen her much in season 7, so I guess excited to
it's,
see her in my first game for a bit.
it's definitely going to be interesting. Not a character you get to see much at all. She's always either, I'd say, on the lower echelon of the meta, or just not even in the meta at all. Uh, you do have a Denzaburo as well. Haven't seen this character in quite a bit. They did prioritize that EDC as well over AMC, over Charybdis. I'm curious to see how they want to play around this character.
You have any notes on these builds? I'm taking a quick peek. I see some pretty standard builds. AMC, I guess, going Bluestone's kind of a little bit of an oddity, but not so much in mid. But any comments you got for that stuff?
I mean, Bluestone's fine. Definitely allows them to just clear wave that much quicker. Gives them really good level 1 pressure as well. Outside of that, there's nothing too crazy here. TP, both solo laners, everything's pretty standard, as you said.
Yeah, Yorm with that gilded arrow, just getting that extra basic attack damage. Super annoying early game, I know, to deal with. So let me see how that pans out early. Pretty standard starts from both of these guys. The mid jungle, just kind of taking those two neutral camps and then going straight to mid to kind of split the farm there.
Arachne walking in from the side here as opposed to might be looking for something. We
Yeah,
have a
early little webs. Maybe she can get off the stun. Looks like not quite enough damage there. Not sure if she procced the 1 instead of the 2 there. Might have just been leveling for the heal and extra damage to poke out.
like a lot of poke regardless. They did manage to poke the Scylla in the return though with the slow keep, so
It's pretty much even poke for both sides. The aggression, however, still staying here as Loki rotates back out into his jungle. Um, Interesting, like you had noticed, the AMC in the duo here. See how that kind of plays out. Usually I haven't seen much of him in duo lane. Oh, a quick kill in solo lane over there. Yorm with that gilded arrow. Looks like he was able to poke out the Odin, who probably used his jump on the wave, unfortunately.
definitely even with Odin being one of the strongest solos in the game, like a few patches ago, a character's early game is a little bit worse for wear. It's not the greatest, not the worst. And
I'd agree
Yorm
with you there, yeah. Odin, for me, is a really good team fight character. I just find his laning is pretty bad for the start, at least.
definitely once you get a few points in year 1, tier 2, jumping on cooldown or insta clearing wave, much better off, but these early levels are extremely rough.
I think both teams kind of playing it safe, getting some poke out. I mean, aside from that solo kill, Scylla is a little bit worse for wear. Raw having that passive healing seems to be quite in his favor here to maybe keep him in lane longer. See some contention over here over these side harpies.
Yeah. You have Arachne webs down, so this could be a decent fight to take for side of Midgard here.
Doesn't look like that Scylla wanted to step up too much. Oh, we see some action here in the duo. Geb getting taunted in by the Donzo Burrow, but nothing really amounting out of it. Just pressure, maybe alleviating some of that.
That bluestone definitely seeming to pay off over here in duo. Quite a lot
Yeah,
of pressure already from this AMC, even with a Geb in lane. Uh, it's definitely one of the downfalls of picking that character and why he may have fell off quite a bit. Great taunt there
good.
from Athena.
Good taunt by Athena and into the Donzo Burrow, who managed to just keep ANC off the aggression. Geb's just doing Geb things, kind of annoying with the knockup. We see an invade here onto the purple from the AMC. I like this play, take advantage of that pressure you guys have. Um, Purple is dropped, picked up by Geb, and looks like the duo from Helix Housewives are just going to push on the wave and not really step into the jungle too much.
Maybe a sign of things to come if this duo lane doesn't get punished. We do have some
Early
aggression
gank
coming in
over here
though.
by Loki, getting some damage off. Yorm is able to. Oh, actually, that goes over to Loki with the extra damage from Yorm, ticking over to 5 now. That ult was probably going to secure it either way. 2 early deaths over here in the solo lane for that Odin, who looks like he's going into, is that a Rune Forge, I believe?
Yep, more than likely Runeforged. I cannot see him going frostbound for whatever reason.
What's your thought on that Rune Forge early for a character like Odin?
uh, Interestingly enough, I feel as if you would have got more value just rushing straight into it. Genji's more cooldown than Odin is just making that character that much more potent. He already has low cooldowns. Getting your ult up, your 2, your 1, making yourself just super safe in lane, super hard to kill.
Ooh, Arachne getting a Raw who stepped up over Raw, alt down. Scylla misses the Sikkim, but gets the crush. Aegis popped by Raw, who's going to back out now that Loki's here. Puts off some of the pressure.
Did
Scylla
manage to snake
is
around.
really low. Loki should have alt, I believe. I'm not sure if he used it.
Did manage to snake out of that Arachne web. That was quite well played from the Raw. Uh, touching.
Raw Raw alt is down, but he is looking to just irritate and hopefully stop the back of the Scylla, who's now been delayed and probably will miss this entire wave. Very well played by the Raw. Back in the duo lane over here, I have a quick question for you, Recurry. We got the AMC here. Are you a fan of leveling the 3 or the Hives first?
Personally, I still think 2 is probably more so the way to go. After that, it depends. I believe the slow maxes up on the 3. However, you get the attack speed, it's on the 1. It's just a personal preference based off of comp, based off of what you need in the game. I'd say if you have more pressure, the 1 is definitely more important over the 3.
In general, here we see most of the team's pressure coming from the Midgard Serpents, it seems, across the map. Pressure's definitely here. Arachne rotating onto this Yorm, who still has ult, decides to pop it early. Just going for safety, I suppose, here. Maybe some out of poke. I'm expecting a rotate back to wave. No, he ends up to go further, chasing
This could be
Arachne out.
dangerous for this Yorm. He is going to get a lot of poke, but now his abilities are down. This Arachne could turn if she chose to.
Chases in.
Excellent
Odin
stun.
gets the stun. Good damage in return. Arachne's opting to back away, however. We see an invade over on the purple as well. Interesting. The Yorm was able to get away playing aggressive like that just because Arachne was poked out so low because of that initial damage. And I think it's just the level lead here for that Jormungandr really just causing a big issue. Loki ult does go down over here in Scylla. Scylla's ult is popped. It is not enough to get her away. However, Loki falls down to the tower. Worthwhile dive in my mind. Just looking to further put that team's pressure even further behind and make Midgard Serpents have some map presence. I'd like, hopefully, for them to transfer this presence now into some objective. We see the gold and XP popping up here. 2,300 gold lead this early, 6 minutes in. It's pretty sizable. Yorm dropping his 3 and 2 just for some extra damage, and that Gilded Arrow is putting in work to that Odin, who does not have any defense, unfortunately, for it.
Definitely. He had a full 3 procs on his 2 there, so just had a, what, I believe 5 seconds of just increased autos, plus Gilded Arrow, just increasing his auto damage. That's super potent.
I
I do
think it
want to
goes from
touch,
16 to 20 there. It's a huge,
yes.
per second tick.
I do want to touch back on those builds, as we do have some fighting
Just
here.
1 second here. We got Ra getting out of position. A crush coming down from Scylla. Athena ult coming in for the taunt, possibly. Loki is, however, looking to take that backline even further out. He is
Good
caught
work
by the
from the
Sikkim.
Scylla.
Crush is pop, taking Loki to about half, who does not have ult. Ooh, Raw ult coming out. He ends up staking around. Loki ult in retaliation takes the kill.
Great turnaround for the Loki there. To the ult into the one. Oh,
Scylla does get that last kill of Crush him. However, the Athena falls as well. Good rotation by the Geb and just coming back from base at the right time there. Looks like you might have a couple seconds there to talk what you wanted about Recurry.
yeah, definitely. We saw in a fight earlier, this Odin has already been pressured out numerous times out of his blue buff. More than likely going to happen again as this Yorm is getting wave pressure. I believe you were mentioning Rune Forge over say, another item. We even saw it earlier with him having no mana. One of better things to do on this character is get breastplate. We do have a Yorm ult here in the meantime,
Yeah.
but breastplate or Genji is good. Would have
I'm
probably
not
done him.
expecting much to come out of here. Looks like Yorm's just probably poking him out, putting even further pressure on. Interesting. He was maybe hoping to get more damage out of that ult. Or just keep him away from that blue because he wants to secure it. Which looks like Yorm is now invading over on that blue side.
We do see, interestingly enough, tier 2 lifesteal from the Ormagander.
Raw ult coming out. Huge damage right into that Scylla, followed by a 1-2 combo to clean up for a double kill. Loki also here with the gank, trying to finish this Odin. Does get the final hit. Great rotations all around. A huge ult by that Raw.
Definitely. Uh, I would like to see this Arachne put some form of more pressure on the map. It's very difficult at this stage of the game where you're 2 levels down.
Looks
But
like the mid is just waiting for the level for red to spawn. Arachne's second item here. What is this going to be here, Recurry, do you think? She's looking to chase out.
we do have a Raw on the map, so do have AMC technically with the one. Do have an
Good
Athena ult
taunt over
coming
by
through actually.
Athena. Geb is going to take the quick roll out and just get out of there. Raw is several levels up on most of these. He's, what is that, 5 levels up on this Athena who's looking to get some poke off here, but just looks like a safe disengage, possibly a posturing for gold here, or just taking the easy farm and getting those camps off the map. Yeah, looks like just some quick farm. Teams are posturing. Mid tower did fall during that last double kill battle as well. Raw ults the wave there. Loki ult ends up hitting Danzo. Danzo pops the beads, taunts, tries to taunt off Loki. Loki pops beads, but is cleaned up by the AMC.
Just very difficult for any of these side lanes to get any form of farm with this jungler just being as big as he is. Loki's running around the map clearing. It seems like he's almost everywhere. Do you have an Arachne on the tough side?
Scylla ult, Arachne ult. Scylla does connect with the ult, taking him down to about half HP. Arachne also connects with ult, not enough damage to complete it. Are they going to chase out the kill? Scylla does dash in, tries to sick him, misses it.
Oh,
Taunt
no.
is missed. Looks like AMC's just sitting in the tower. 2v3,
That is
double kill with the raw rotation in there. That is just unfortunate miss of abilities there by the Helix Housewives, and they really needed that kill.
that would have been very just quite the ego boost taking the AMC there. It's an ADC, you're putting them out of the fight after your Danza just died, so you can't just farm ahead. You have a lot of
Yorm here
pressure over
looking
here.
some damage, ulting in to possibly clean up now that the shield and jump down here for Odin. Is he going to follow him all the way to the Phoenix with Odin's ult? Nope, looks like he just safely disengages. Does get quite a bit, pulls the ult, and gets an insane amount of pressure here. This Yorm is just feeling really safe at the moment. With Arachne being so far back in levels, it is now 4 level difference between that jungle and solo laner. So Yorm is feeling pretty safe here. With a Bancrofts and now a breastplate as well. Loki ult down, Scylla beads, dashes just point blank. Loki's able to clean that up, but however dies due to the Athena taunt to the Arachne. Yorm now looking to 1v3 these.
Or doesn't have a TP or an ult, excuse me, here, so it's maybe pretty risky for him if they can get their
He
damage off.
is
Raw
sitting
has
in the
shown up.
pool though. Raw comes in. Huge damage from that Raw, who ends up cleaning up the Athena thanks to Yorm's follow up. Odin just with a quick up down, getting ticked. And it was actually the Raw one that ends up taking the last bit of damage. Arachne up in her ult, just kind of spinning around, looking to see if she can engage. But that Yorm is huge. Huge damage
Excellent
coming out of
play.
the Raw on the ult. Very well done.
This is looking a bit more dire as we get further into the game for Helix Housewives. It's just very unfortunate that they have a rather late game comp between Scylla, Odin. Say Danza's more mid, early-ish, but it's very difficult for them to get any form of damage
Still
off with
is
these
able
two
to
characters.
secure the red there with Sikkim. Just enough damage into it. But
Yep.
this Raw now, 3 levels up. We got levels up in pretty much every one of the lanes. Okay, quick ult here out of AMC who's going to chase using his hives. 2 basic combo there to clean up the Donzo Burrow. These lanes are just getting a little bit out of control. The level lead is so high now that the teams really can't look to take any fights. They need to just focus on farm. 6,500 gold difference with a 1,200 XP lead at 12 minutes in. This game is starting to run away with itself a little bit. They need to stop and just maybe focus on some farming at this point, because they're not going to win. Definitely not going to win these 2v2s or 3v3s.
Interesting enough, gold hasn't been really even looked at from Midgard Serpents, even with the seed. Excellent ult here
I
from
hear
Loki.
a Scylla ult coming in, misses the mark. The Odin Cage is able to secure enough damage from the crush, however, for Scylla to clean up that kill. Arachne ults out, trying to avoid the damage from Yorm.
This is
Yorm is now in
very
a position, a
greedy from Yorm.
1v4, taking
Higher
huge amount
roster
of
of Helix
damage.
Housewaves over here for this Yorm, making sure he gets punished for being this aggressive Loki pick too. So
That is
starting to
exact.
look
That's what you
quite
needed for the Housewives for sure, able to cut down that Yorm's lead. At this point, that was exactly the kind of fight and quick rotation into the. Oh my goodness. Raw with the huge snipe. Was that a secure? I missed the secure, but
yes,
enough
it was a
damage to at
secure from
least
Midgard Serpents on the run.
clean up the Scylla as well. I was just going to say, it was a really good call for the quick pick and then rotating into that neutral objective. However, for the Raw ult available, he was able to out-secure most of the damage because Scylla had already dropped hers in that fight.
Yep. Characters like Raw, like Cuckoo, Scylla even, they had on their team, but unfortunately she didn't have her ult like you mentioned. Those are characters you want to be keeping in mind when you pull objectives. Are those characters out? Did they use their ult in that fight? Raw wasn't even in that fight, so you just have to keep tabs. Maybe have somebody step up to zone him.
It looks like this is going to be a free Gold Fury. No, it does look like the Arachne pops up. That's Arachne's beads after Loki ults her. Able to get out. Geb with the quick knockback from the rollout function. And he look like he's going to be rotated by the rest of the team. No, Loki ends up staying back, but we do have Raw over here looking for a quick snipe, and he hits it. This Raw has not missed these snipes, and they've been just an insane amount of damage onto this team right now.
It's definitely been on point most of this game. I think he's only missed 2 that I can remember, and I wouldn't even consider those misses as one of them. I'm pretty sure he just hit a tank anyway, the Athena at some point.
A
Definitely
lot of
well played from
damage.
this Raw.
They're definitely going to have to shut him down. Raw doesn't have the movement You just have to avoid the damage, and they're gonna need a quick shutdown here. Otherwise, this Raw might control most of the game.
Wouldn't even per se say that. Arachne has a difficult time getting close to characters. That's the only hard point of playing that character in any form of comp, really. And Raw still has a soul cleanse on us too, so she can't even lock him down outside of getting that triple proc on the Raw. Need to get
So
an
most of
Athena
the team clean
taunt
up.
or
Oh, there's a Loki ult onto the Odin who
stun.
is alting in. Possible taunt. No, Odin's ult just misses the mark after the blink from the Loki.
Arachne looking for this still. Loki has sniffed it out though, so Arachne just goes off, looks for farm instead.
Yeah, and
Well,
with Geb there, she's not probably going to get too much off. That Geb shield at this point is fully leveled up and providing a good sizable shield. Yorm looking to do some damage, you know. Arachne does ult out, seeing the Raw rotating. Yorm is going to ult to follow this Arachne through her ult. Raw with the huge
oh,
damage. Just cleaning up again with that ult, you know. The cooldown on that is just insane, and he has been incredibly on point this game.
this is gonna be very rough. This Raw has to be the focal point of any of these fights that they start. If they don't shut this Raw out of a fight, it's gonna be very hard for them to even take an objective or take another character out of the fight.
I agree, and it's been, I guess, due to proper positioning by this Raw, but he's always coming into the fights kind of, they don't know where he is, which is just allowing him to hit these huge ults out of nowhere and just completely destroying them without knowing where he's coming from. So they need to get vision on him, and like you said, they need to kind of focus him because he is doing a lot of work just because he's able to come in at full HP with his ult available. 5 for 7, J250's noting that the Raws hit the ult, so pretty good amount of numbers, I think. Oh, there's a miss!
I think he was just having a bit more fun with that one, to be fair. But you have Raw almost at level 20, sub 20 minutes. Just farming, getting so many kills. You have Arachne posing here, actually. This could be what they're looking for.
Scylla ult is pop Raw with a huge amount of damage, but it is a
Relics
3v1
pops.
situation. That is a beads. However, Raw is just deciding to completely focus onto that Scylla. Over in the duo lane, the AMC does get that solo kill.
That could be
And it
what they're
looks like they're
looking
going
for.
to disengage.
They do have an opening in this round now. Both relics popped on the side of him. They just need to make sure they burn through this Geb shield. But they do have Athena taunt. They have Scylla full kit after that. They can
Well, Scylla
more
did
than
drop
likely.
alt, so we at least they have that currently down. And it looks like because of the Scylla alt is down, they are going to pull the Fire Giant. Kind of what you talked about. Frenzy is popped, hopefully trying to secure it quick. Does drop down
Oh,
to the
a big chain.
1300. Raw ult just short of fully securing that, but bringing it down to 300 was enough for them. Nobody showing up from the Helix Housewives for that.
Unfortunately, most of them did get poked out in that last engagement, trying to force out this Raw. So could
Yep,
not be
no,
there
it's
for that fire giant.
good recognition by the Midgard Serpents to realize that they had map pressure and convert it into some neutral objectives. We are now ticking over at 13,000 gold difference and 20,000 XP difference. So this is going to be quite sizable for this fight. Loki ult is dropped, however, beads then pulled. Odin in the background just trying to zone out this AMC. He is going to possibly fall for it. Looks like he's able to get out. Yorm is ulting to possibly get the chase. Scylla does secure one kill in the background. Yorm following up with another kill. AMC and Arachne seems to be caught out here. Arachne ults to possibly get herself out. Phoenix has fallen. It is a 4v4 currently. Um, base siege. Actually, Raw is not even in here. Sorry, it's a 3v4.
More than likely going to back off here, just look for mid tower, probably heal up a bit with that fire giant and push again.
Raw just looking to possibly zone with that alt. Clean kill on the tower and disengage probably from this team. ANC getting hit by the crush.
And less so zone. If he did manage to hit someone there, you get almost a guaranteed Phoenix. You can just step in. They are looking for this Arachne.
Loki
Just
alt is into this Arachne who gets knocked up by the Jormungandr 3 right into the one Raw beam. Huge amount of damage coming out this Raw, who's now ticked over to level 20. You think they just take this tower and back off and look for some further neutral farm, or do they push this Phoenix here and
They are
further push their...
more than big enough to.
Ooh! Raw just
Okay.
completely 0-100 that Scylla at that point. Not quite, 80% HP, but That was an insane amount of damage.
Those mages, man. Double pen being a factor now for mages, allowing mages to do things like that, along with a 5-level lead. It's very potent on any of these
Odin
backline.
dives in, ults, trying to group up most of that team. Danzaburo is able to pick up a kill there while defending. Danza ults in. It is pretty unimpactful. Loki's able to zone him out. Raw is at half. The rest of the team at full HP.
You see
Odin
Raw
looking to get a
almost up
stun.
again with the Spirit Desolation.
And there it is.
There it is.
Whoa! Huge pick in the background as that Loki's trying to disrupt them.
This is definitely the position you want to be in for this Raw. Do force on Arachne ult.
Yeah, Arachne does step up a little bit too far, forcing out the ult. Looks like they're going to take the safe route and opt to clean up the Phoenixes.
Love the build
Athena
path
with a
as well.
huge taunt into the Donzo Burrow. That's enough to pick off one, but this Raw is still standing. Crush does do some damage onto AMC.
Touching back on that topic though, I do love this build path from this Raw. He's building a lot around being as far ahead as possible. He has Karen's coin getting those stacks up as quickly as possible. Desolation
Yeah,
is getting his ult up, getting his abilities up. Same with Staff and the second he ults, it's already on a 36-second cooldown at max CDR. You're cutting, I believe, 6 seconds. There's Raw ult again, he's just using it pretty much as a standard ability.
yeah, just quickly burning down this neutral farm on their way back. These two carries just putting in quite a bit of work for their team right now. I think this Raw still has yet to die, and at this point, with the Gab, it is extremely hard to single target him. Between the CC cleanse on himself for the 2 for the slows, and then the Geb CC clean, on top of the healing, on top of the shield, it is going to be extremely hard for the Helix Housewives to remove this Raw, and he is doing a lot of damage to this team.
Definitely. All of that, and we didn't even mention Raw passive as well, 15% movement speed. On top of his Karen's coin, which he has even more movement speed, it's going to be very, very difficult for this Arachne to catch him. They do have Odin Cage, and we don't have any form of shell to get out of that Odin Cage on the side of Midgard. So Raw
Good note.
could die in theory.
The
Come
amount of
later on
damage
when
he's
it's over.
doing at this point right now is just a little bit scary. With the Geb alive too, it's just adding that added layer of protection. So we're gonna have to hopefully get him caught out, or at least separated from this Geb. Looks like the
We do
team
see them
is
posing here, looking for something on the Scylla or maybe this Odin.
yeah, Yorm sitting at Phoenix on right side, looking to just clean it up as it spawns.
You see a
He
Scylla
is
dash here actually. Scylla forced ult because she had to ult out of this AMC hide.
Scylla does damage. Raw missing the ult onto that Scylla was a good line, however, just misses. But enough damage between the Loki and Raw to clean up that kill, and they're probably gonna look to end here. Yeah, we do see a frenzy pop. Danzaburo trying to get off the stun. Arachne just getting deleted as she deletes onto the Raw.
Very, very well played from Midgard Serpents. They did not look weak at any stage of that game.
No,
Very well
they
played.
did a really good job in the laning phase, and they were quick recognition. Good notes on to Housewives. They also had noticed some good rotations. Just unfortunately, their lanes found a little bit too far behind, just due to the jungle not quite being as relevant in that game, unfortunately. But we will be right back. We'll jump back onto the desk with Rakuri and Ying, and I'll talk to you guys in game 2.
All right, and we are back on the desk after that explosive game 1, especially from the Raw. I just feel like he got way too ahead early, and it just kind of snowballed to that win. I will say kind of some small things that I did see on both sides. Especially early building. I feel like if some of the Helix Housewives, especially the Arachne, if the Arachne, when you guys were talking about like the mace and his second item and what they were looking to build, I feel like if Arachne went ahead and went the Brawler's Beast Stick, they potentially could have gotten a kill on their Raw. If not, I feel like that Brawlers would definitely help in the team fight aspects where it wouldn't do, so much healing. And the Midgard Serpents, they played balls to the walls that game. I will say they played very well. I will say that, especially near the mid game point, what is it? The Loki and the Jormungandr. They played a little bit too greedy towards what I like to see. And I know the Loki got punished for it, but I'd like to see them play a little bit more reserved and not greedy as per se. So, other than that, it was a very good game, and I do wish them congratulations for their game one win, and exciting to see how game two is gonna go. And it's excited to see how um Helix Housewives answers back after that game one blowout from the Raw. So that's all I want to say. Unless Recurry wants to say anything, we're going to go ahead and take it to a brief pause, and we'll be back with picks and bans for game two.
We should be good. We shall see you guys there.
All right, and we are back with the picks and bans today, folks. How are you guys doing again? You know, explosive game one, I must say. Let's see what's going to go ahead and unfold here in picks and bans.
Would like to bring up that I would like to see something with a bit more aggression, whether it be something in the jungle or something in the mid. Just having that much more of an early game presence from this Helix Housewives comp. Did have a
Yeah.
Scylla, did have an Odin, a lot of characters that are not necessarily potent early game. Meanwhile, they
So
had
as
Loki, they
we
had Raw, they had AMC, all of their side lanes and all of their mid lane had so much pressure, so much clear. It's very
most
hard to deal with.
definitely. So as we get in here with the picks and bans, Helix Housewives are going to go ahead and ban out the Clidna and the Artio. Very, very common strong bans, and the Midgard Serpents going ahead and banning out the Atlas and the Athena. Sorry, maybe they feel like the Athena was a little bit of a nuisance on the duo lane. So excited to see how that's gonna unfold with the rest of the bans here.
Could also be trying to ban it away as they're gonna draft a bit differently here. Athena is
Yes,
also pretty potent in the Raw normally. If she's not behind, that character actually can put just so much pressure on Raw.
I'm excited to
Atlas
see
banned
if
away,
the
like you said
Helix
as well.
Housewives respect bans the Raw. Nope, it looks like they're gonna go ahead and get rid of the AMC, which they think was sort of a threat to them as well. And Midgard Serpents on the other side are going to go ahead and get rid of the Amaterasu. So very good bans on both sides for the first round. Helix Housewise respect banning the AMC, and Midgard Serpents respect banning the Athena, it feels like. So
We do have this Bastet first pickup. What do you think of this Ying?
very strong jungler indeed. She's not really super overpowered, I would say. So she's a very overly less balanced, but still strong pick, but not nowhere near where she was when she first was. What's the word? Reworked. Yeah,
We have a Medusa lock in here on the side of Midgard Serpents. Looking for that second pick, but very, again, potent ADC, very strong early pressure. Seems Midgard Serpents are just more fluent with this early pressure style of play. Curious to see how Helix plays around it. ESET as well locked in. Again, back on that topic, very high pressure on both of these lanes. How do you think they're
most
going to compete with
definitely.
this thing?
Um, I feel like with the E set, I she could most definitely go either support or mid. I've been seeing E set played a lot in support, especially lately, but I feel like against an E set, you just kind of got to go more pressure against her and kind of make her play back a little bit, I would say. But then again, I haven't played mid in quite a bit, so I could be 100% wrong on that. Um, the Helix Housewives are going to go ahead and lock in the Scylla again. Hopefully, they can find an answer with it this game. What do you think about the Scylla lock in game two?
Scylla is definitely, I personally say, a worse matchup in this game than it was last game. When you
Yeah,
have most of your kit relying off of this one. If you catch Issa while she's casting her one, she's root immune in that, and she can easily get out of crush combo or even your ults right after. Issa ult also is pretty solid into playing into crush and solo ult, get damage mitigation, get a heal right after.
Most definitely, yeah. And
Also,
Helix
again, have
Housewives
this
are
both.
locking in Izanami for their ADC to match the Medusa's pressure, I'm most guessing. And Shox is being locked in for the solo lane. Quite a big different pick than the Jormungandr since we saw last game. Exciting to see how he's going to be able to play this in the solo lane.
Izanami definitely much more pressure than Danza. 1 through 3. She does fall off as terms of a pressure character. She just turns more into what your typical ADC, gets her into the late game. ADC is already pretty potent right now. Probably just going to be shredding objectives between the Scylla and Izanami. Ganesha banned
Yeah.
away actually. What do you think on this?
Ganesh, we've seen him a lot. He's a very strong support, most definitely. He banned away from the Helix Housewives. I'm feeling like they thought he was a very big threat in game one as well. You know, opened up for a lot of team fights to be won, especially with the backline stuns. And they're going to go ahead and ban out the Fenrir while Midgard Serpents wraps up their bans with Ganesha and Geb. And as I was saying, Ganesh, a very strong support, able to lock down people, counter quite a lot of stuff from people. So it's a very good ban away.
Speaking of supports, we do see Hobwa lock in, and you touched on the ESET support earlier. It's more than likely looking to be ESET support here with Hobwa in mid. Could also be a Hobwa jungle, but I'd be more interested to see a Hobwa in mid, especially after the play last game. I feel
Yeah,
like that guy could definitely pull this off. Cerberus and Bacchus both front line locked in here for Helix Housewaves. We do see a Morrigan on the side of Midgard Serpents. Quite a toss-up here of mages. I'm interested to see how they fill these out. More than likely ESET support seeing this, but Hobwa and Morgan definitely could be either in the jungle or in the mid.
most likely, yeah. It's very exciting. Hopefully, I love seeing Morgan's jungle. She has a lot of power, and she can really just kind of mess you up. You know, coming from the jungle and just it really hurts getting stunned out of nowhere. So exciting to see how that plays.
Good.
From the looks of the drafts, I really do feel like Felix Housewives has a very nice like draft. You know, evened out
Very
mixture
standard
of
draft, I'd say.
power
Yes.
and and physical and magical. Whereas Midgard Serpents, if they play it right, they do have good power, but I feel like a lot of their damage is magical oriented. So exciting to see how this will be played out.
Let's see about this
Um,
shock. They do have 3 mages, but this Morgan's gonna be transforming the physicals. More than likely. Looking at this stat, looking at this chalk. A lot of poke, a lot of AoE. They also have a lot of dive. ESET's gonna be much closer in a lot of these fights. Morgan's practically an assassin. Same with Hobwa. We
oh yes.
will be
So
interesting
we're
to see.
going to go ahead and take it to a break here, and we will be back with game two in a short moment. So stay tuned, everybody.
Hey guys, it's King Kerbis back here with game 2 of the Helix Housewives versus Midgard Serpents, and I'm joined by my fellow caster, Recurry. Excited for game 2 here, Recurry? I know they got 3 mages.
Yep, that draft has definitely piqued my interest. I'm curious to see how they pull this out. How about in the jungle? Did not go to the mid, unfortunately. I was excited to see that. Mori in the mid, definitely a character we've seen all year, all of last year. I was speaking about pressure come last game with how they were playing pressure all around the map and we're starting to draft this game. They are not lacking. Mori, once you hit 5, you can just run around the map with either Doom Orb or this double pen. Hobwa, uh, probably a late game mage for the most part. It's not going to be really fitting the rest of this draft. You do have 4 pressure gods with Hobwa being, I'd say, more of their scale come late game. Going to be one-shotting the Scylla, Izzy, looking for any of these people to pick.
We do see the Shock actually opting to go into that hammer build right off the hop first here, and Cabe going defense. So a flip of what we'd seen in the previous game.
Yep. Chalk is definitely much more potent with damage. He has 100 protections at max rank on this too, so you can get away with being a bit more greedy for damage. We do often see Transcendence Chalk. I believe you are one of the people that pulled that out in your scrim.
Yeah, I'm a
Uh,
big fan of it. Like you said, the damage off, scaling the healing off the damage is very important. So interesting to see how that lane goes with the Cerberus getting the natural anti-heal in the kit as well. Probably a pretty standard here start as well. Bastet Scylla here, the Scylla being picked up again. This time with a Bastet, hopefully able to get a little bit more map pressure with the jumps across the wall this time as opposed to the Arachne previously.
Well, I'm more interested in this dual lane though. If we have two very hyper pressure comps in duo, I'm interested to see what's going on.
Good root over there by the Bastet and the crush damage. Almost a early kill here over in the duo. Is Inami able to get out just barely, getting the spit damage. There's the huge damage you're talking about. Shock poking out the Cerberus over there as well. First blood close in both of these lanes here on the side. Not sure if it's going to go the way that either team wants, but with that E-set, like you mentioned, Bacchus jumping in, looking for a stun, who is then rooted and then stunned as well by the E-set bomb. Doesn't take nearly enough damage to die, but poked out a little bit.
Again, just excellent drafting from Midgard. All of these characters are pretty strong, I'd say, into the characters that were picked up in the respective lanes. Chalk definitely gets countered somewhat by Sir Passive, but I mean, he just has so much lane clear, so much pressure. This dual lane, same thing. Izanami is a good wave clearing god if you can get to the wave. Look at the draft that they have here, double ranged. Isis Ball, once she gets that online, is very difficult to just step up the wave and clear.
And like we'd seen there, it's not just the double range, it's also, the quick stun out of the Medusa's 3, as well as the E-set bomb, the silence. There's quite a bit of control. We do see Bastet looking over here to gank that Shock, who's playing it relatively safe. It looks like Bacchus is going to fall. The E-set bomb clearly being leveled, doing a huge amount of damage over into that Bacchus, who has no defense for it early. As a
Definitely
support yourself, I know that a lot of this times in these duo lanes, it seems like they could be unkillable late, but this early is a pretty dangerous point, wouldn't you agree, for most of the supports when they have no defense yet?
Yes, it is definitely more the case early game than any stage in the late game outside of, you know, 25, 30 minutes. Do have a lot of contention here on this red buff. Mori hits a stun.
Interesting, yeah, it was a weird stun. It seemed to miss, but it was just enough to clip the Scylla there. Shock, I guess, fighting off an invade here from the Cerberus, or looking to take off the blue, but Cerberus able to jump out of the way.
Would be the Chalk invading there. I'm not sure if he got it. I don't see the blue buff on the Serb, so I believe Chalk stole that away.
That could be very annoying for the Guardian to not have any mana. Looks like Medusa's looking to take the purple. Bacchus is able to secure it for his team. Getting poked quite a bit out, but not low enough. We do see Izza here trying to fast clear wave.
It's just
With
being a bulwark there, blocking all the autos away from the Medusa. Manages to take that. Do you
yeah, it
see
was a
Scylla dash forced out here in mid? Besides lurking around, she may be able to pick this
does
mid
walk
laner up.
into the Morrigan, who's possibly invisible, and the quick pickup from the Bastet. Nice little return kill here to make sure that the lead doesn't get out of control, and it is a 1-for-1. Much better start here we're seeing for the Helix Housewives.
It was actually an excellent matchup I didn't even think about. I believe Bistek gets stealth or vision on all stealth characters as well if she marks them with damage. And
Yeah, as
also
long
with
as
the
they're
bot as
marked.
well, she gets to remove that stealth on the Mori if she catches her out. Very, very good pickup as a character into this draft.
Bastet is silenced and stunned with Bacchus jumping in, getting another stun. Bastet alt is dropped. E-set alt as well. Damage retaliation from this E-set and Medusa is quite a bit, not being able to quite fall. E-set actually, Medusa, sorry, picking up a kill, getting the ult, picking up a second kill. E-set was able to survive an insanely long amount of time there in my mind. It's unfortunate she did not fall because that fight should have gone in favor of Helix Housewife, but
That
good placement of abilities ends up giving it to Midgard Serpents for a 2-0.
It's looking like an excellent fight for Helix, but they just ran out of mana. Bastet had no mana there. I believe the Izzy also ran out. She used the last bit of it on her dash. Did not have any other abilities to expend there. So just
We
turned
do
the
see a
way of
little bit of a
Midgard.
gold tip here. 1800 falling towards the Midgard Serpents. An early alt here. Turns into Medusa, dashes through. Scylla alt is dropped, misses. Medusa turns around with the quick spit and is crushed.
Fancy footwork
Fairly
there from the
even.
Morrigan.
We
Very
do
well played.
see Hebo looking over to pick up the Scylla. Dashes into the Hibwa, which maybe was unsure he was there. Bacchus able to get a stun. Hebo alt out to avoid the stun. He's looking to clean up the Scylla. Does get it with the water spout. A death over in, is that solo?
I think that was the Mori actually. She may have died to creeps.
Okay, Mori died to red buff. That's unfortunate to see. We do see the engagement here now onto the Hebo, who has no alt. A stun and silence from the Iset is enough to pull off the Bacchus. And the back line just seems to let it go. I'm not sure where Bassett. She maybe decided she couldn't get a kill and left the Bacchus kind of alone there and just safely disengages for both teams.
All things considered, they are definitely holding their own much better off than last game. As long as they can stem some of this bleeding, start making it into that mid game where this Izanami becomes much more online, could compete much more so with these tanks, especially the E set, which could be very squishy compared to a Bacchus with built-in damage mitigation. They can just make it to that stage of the game, should be much better off.
I agree. I see a lot more control here by the Helix Housewives in the jungle. Being a little bit more present in these lanes is definitely helping. We do see the stun drop out until a dash away. Silence
Bacchus,
from 2 levels down, yeah.
Bacchus
Iset
still
gets
level
a silence and
4,
stun.
actually. Needs to start getting that farm online, just make sure they can make it, have their ult in these team fights. I did notice that they didn't have ult earlier for the fight on the Habwa. Did not realize that they were not level 5 yet. Could have been a kill if they had been farming.
Falling a little bit far behind, like you mentioned, in this duo
Yes.
lane. Izanami is, however, still matching that carry. So at this point, I think you'd really want that support to rotate out so that Iza can continue. We do see a quick little root crush onto the Hebo here. Still's doing a good job. A blink from Hebo, missed all. Still able to dash away as well after the fact. Quick crush to do a huge amount of damage and poke out that jungle who's going to back.
Definitely just a hair off the solo there. Very unfortunate for the Subway.
Even more unfortunate here for the rotation from the Bastet, and the Hellball ends up backing in time. We do see Scylla here, and Bastet looking for some further camps. It looks like she's going to dash away for safety of her support. Possible rotation over into the duo lane from Bastet, who's looking to maybe clean up this Chalk who's low. We see both jumps drop from the solo and jungle. Bastet gets off her whip.
Ult is down. He does get pulled here
Alt
from
is
the stun.
pulled, and that is enough damage. Hebo also rotating. Huge alt in here from the Scylla. The Medusa is alting. That looks like the Morrigan has transformed, picking up that kill there. And Bacchus just going to safely disengage. So good alt rotation. We're seeing this Morgan prioritizing that Medusa for the just stone glare. Sorry, my bad. Hebo sitting over in the solo lane, wasn't able to clean up any kills there after the shock had died.
Speaking of actual Medusa, again, just so much pressure. She gets a purple buff. She is contesting it.
Yeah, no, it does fall before even the Zanami can get within range. We do see a 1 level difference here. Both carries opting for the Crusher. Is Crusher still kind of the main meta here for these duo? Well, we do see a Medusa hit the spit and try to get the stun from that. Alt follow up, almost completely taking off the final bit of damage for that Izanami, who ends up staying. Is it enough for Medusa to get that final basic?
Fortunate.
Nope,
Did not
not
secure that.
quite.
Back on the topic of Crusher though, Flat Pen. As you see with mage builds right now, Flat Pen is dominant. It always has been dominant, I'd say. In most of the Smite metas, we've seen Stone of Binding be really good. We've seen back in the days when Old Spear Magus used to have 50 pen. Flat Pen has always dominated metas. Crusher is just always going to be good.
Astat does jump in, is quickly rooted over by the Medusa's 3. Taking off those basic damage, but the poison effect from Medusa's 1 is enough to get a kill. Hebo does ult, however, after the fact, and is trying to do enough damage here just with his abilities. Izanami does dash in, is enough to chase away the Hebo, but not enough to completely disengage. We do see the mid here kind of hovering.
You see the blink forced out from the Hobweather. Thought he was under a bit more pressure than he already was. But touching back on this Crusher, we did see it get nerfed on the attack speed aspect. Still is more than potent getting picked up here. If the Crusher, honestly, I believe people are going kin size now instead of Wind Demon, or they can go into Atalantis. There's just a lot of build variety right now for ADCs.
Yeah, I do like the kin size damage in general. We do see the shock just kind of poking out. They're pretty much even in levels. Items wise, some defense finally coming online for shock in the T2 item, but pressure is definitely still in their way. But it looks like the bleeding is not quite as bad. We do see an invade over here, shock alt. Huge damage from the Hebos one there, almost enough to kill out the jungler. Bastet is able to get away. Looks like a misplay possibly here, trying to get the blue, and is able to get picked up. Scylla with
Excellent
the
combo
quick
from Zilla.
crush. Eset looking to possibly clean up this kill, who should be safe for the most part.
You see the Mori lurking around this corner,
Dashing
right into the
into...
wavy arms.
That's very unfortunate to see. That is probably going to cost the life of that Scylla, yes, who dashed into the jungle and was found out by two of the Midgard Serpents waiting in wait there. Bastet's trying to do a little bit of bob and weave here, possibly get the speed before it is secured. Midgard Serpents are looking like they want to contest. In fact, no, they do back off, just settle for the neutral farm.
We did see on the desk, Ying did touch upon these triple magical comp. We have seen Mori transform almost every single time into this Medusa. Maybe that's just a comfort pick for them in terms of playing that character. We do have a lot of other very potent physical characters on both teams actually, between Bastet, Chalk, or Bastet and Chalk, excuse me. Outside of that, there's a couple other transformations.
I'm
Could be.
surprised it's not going into the shock because from what I can see, they're prioritizing that Medusa for the alt, for that damage that she brings out, as well as the slow. But
Excellent.
Medusa getting a quick dash off. Izanami's alt miss, but it does pop the beads from Medusa, who's in a basic attack now. Eset rotating in. Also, the Bacchus looking to get possibly a quick stun.
Excellent mechanics there from the Medusa. Had a really good AA cancel over 2, Endure 3.
Yeah, one of the quickest AA cancels flat out is the Medusa's 3.
Yep. Auto into that last rate did so much damage. I believe they might be maxing that actually. Might be able to, can we see that?
Quick
So
knock up, but the
Omni
shield
base.
from the Izanami looks like the Hebo looking to come out here and rotate. Misses all the abilities,
She
possibly
was
trying
in
to
stealth
read
there,
which
to be
way.
fair.
Yep. Missed the
She's
3 to
actually
the
not
stealth.
maxing her 3. That's
Interesting.
interesting.
No, that's definitely standard, but he said the attack cancels are
Definitely not.
coming in huge.
Yes. Definitely not the
Ooh.
standard thing, I would say, maxing the 3, but did look like a lot of burst. Excellent
Hebo
knockup.
doing huge amount of damage with that alt. Kind of just what Hebo does. Bacchus looking to just possibly be annoying, noticing that Hebo does have very low mana here, trying to keep him in the fight, get a late rotation. Mori does come in with the stun. Huge damage from the ESET bomb. Actually, Morgan ends up taking the last bit of damage. ESET seems to be doing quite a bit of damage, even though she's going support. I would probably note that's because of the lack of Lono's mask, which is what we typically see on ESETs.
Even disregarding that, a lot of supports, I'd say more aggressive supports, or even mages in this case, around this like level 9 to 12 spike, I'd say. When you have 2 of your damage abilities maxed, I would assume this ESET's maxing her 1 and 2, maybe the 3. But if you have both of those maxed, yeah, you see the 1 there. She actually prioritized this 3 first from the looks of it.
Morgan switching over into the Medusa again, like we've seen time and time again. The ability's missed. However, the alt is enough damage, getting the spit at point blank, getting the root, and then quickly popping Aegis. Is enough damage over by the Hebo, who ends up taking a kill, and the Morgan is safely out of there, able to Aegis most of that damage.
But again, touching back on the topic with the supports, we've seen it time and time again with characters like Tyr, characters like Gilgamesh, in this case, Iset, where she's getting just both of those abilities maxed out, does a bunch of damage just from the raw ability damage. She doesn't even need power.
Huge amount of damage from that spit from the Medusa, but a good retaliation, but it's not enough with Medusa still having the ult, able to secure it with that. Good fight there, but honestly, it just comes down to the Izanami being 2.5 levels there down, and did have the item advantage over there. We are seeing the gold kind of slowly escalating, dropping down a little bit in the last couple of minutes over to the 7,000 mark, and almost a 12,000 XP difference as well. 15 minutes in, not nearly as bad as we've seen. Still able to pick up a kill over there. Looks like it was a alt damage into the mid, which was a nice play over there. Definitely gives Scylla a little bit more control, and this is a late game Scylla, somebody that's going to need to get there.
Definitely excellent getting golden off of that Morgan as well. It's one of the highest level people on their team. You see the Scylla is keeping up almost only a level down here. They are looking at Gold Fury here. It's been pulled.
Izanami is not there. The rest of the team from Midgard Serpents is rotating. It is enough to pull him off. Iset does silence that Bacchus before he's able to get out, but the crush is enough to zone out the rest of that team. We do see Basset in the back line just being chased down here by the Medusa a little bit. Scylla with the root quick beads from Hebo into an alt. Not enough damage, however. Scylla's able to dash out. Izanami able to take off that last kill, but it looks like Iset is trying to chase down this Bacchus, return at least a little bit of damage back in, but not quite enough. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like he might get caught here.
It's very unfortunate positioning in that team fight.
Nope.
Habwa ulted in. This Iset actually managed to shield him by silencing somebody, but the obelisk there actually took away the entire shield and most of his health. Outside of that, left him at one shot for the Izanami to just pick up and dash out.
Good little damage out there, and onto the carry, which is somebody else you need to get quickly up there. Bastet looking to do some damage, but unfortunately 3 levels down on this Shock, who now is building into some physical defense. That's probably going to be a breastplate, you believe, probably there, Recurry?
More than likely a breastplate. I cannot see any reason to pick up a spectral or a hide. It is a
Oh,
chocolate
we do
drop
see
too.
a Shock alt, and he's looking to just probably re-engage here now. Doing some decent amount of damage over here, and it looks like Scylla alt is dropped on top of a Shock. Who's looking to
Shock got
take up a final
full.
kill. Bastet does try to grab an alt here, able to kill, but is retaliated by the Morrigan. We get the quick stun 2 combo off. It is a
Very
2-for-1 in favor of that Midgard Serpents, unfortunately.
very unfortunate timing, and that's the old Chalk did just manage to land a 3-man torrent, which is 2 procs each per person, up to 5 stacks. So it's 100 protections on top of what he already has. Scylla ult hit for almost nothing at that team fight.
Yeah, and with her having a level difference and just the natural procs not quite being there, it's not quite enough to take out that solo laner who's very tanky at this point, especially. Quick neutral pickup here by the Midgard Serpents onto Pyromancer. Recognizing that they were just there, Scylla is over here for the Helix Housewives looking to possibly take this gold. Late engagement with Medusa still here. I don't necessarily love this call. And Medusa looks like she's probably going to ult in to secure the damage. Izanami alt is dropped, however, it's not enough. A quick pick off by the 2 Midgard Serpents. Chalk is following. Quick alt. 1 combo is enough. And that is a 3-for-0 with no Gold Fury pulled. Unfortunately, it does go favor entirely there for the Midgard Serpents, and even further pushing this lead they have.
This is not the position you want to be in with, say, more mid-game focused draft. Around this time, all of your characters should be high in pride, just pushing for pressure. But with the amount of pressure they've had from Midgard, just pushing it down between Medusa, Morrigan, Chalk, East-set support, it's very hard to find any space to kill anyone in this draft.
Certainly, and we definitely saw a little bit more pushback here in the laning phase, but now we're rolling into this team fight 5v5. We are seeing a little bit further push even into the team fights for the Midgard Serpents, who now are successfully ahead in their leads and gold, and they seem to be pushing it even further by taking these neutral objectives. I didn't even notice this before, but Bacchus opting in for the Radiance active here. What do you think of that relic choice for the supports?
The Radiance? You mean the Bracer Radiance, excuse me. Is that the one with the spirits?
Just in general, even the starter, I think
Oh,
is
I
what he
see.
started right off the hop rather than going, a med, a shell, or frenzy, going into the bracer first off.
It definitely gives you that much more space in dueling early, especially at level 1. I believe 10% power. Forgive me if I'm wrong, and then 10% movement speed.
Yep. Yeah,
It's just
that's
so potent early game. If it also acts as a ward, get a lot of vision, especially with an early game draft, like I've been mentioning this entire match. Do you see this
Morgan looking to get a
Mori?
stun, missing the 2 and the invisibility coming off, but Scylla is in a weird position here, kind of trying to push into mid, is more able to get the stun. It looks like just out of range. Abilities are missed. Medusa dropping the ult, but quickly rooted. Quick Aegis from the Scylla, who instantly ults after that to try to disengage. Will it be enough? I like this. Scylla's disengage, recognizing that she was in a bad position and just opting to run rather than fight.
She is out though, and then manages to head back in. Does lose her beads for that. Truck does commit full kit.
Oh, nice quick sidestep to avoid the ult from Bastet. Shock is just going to keep running over here. Medusa does pick up a kill over there. Shock picking up the kill onto Scylla after the chase. He is, however, now engaged by the Izanami. Followed up quickly by the Bastet. He should lose his life here. Quick little torrent off
Here you
the
go, right?
axe throw. Possibly healing up. Is he able to get out? It looks like their focus has changed over to the mid, chasing down this Hebo. It looks like Shock is probably going to get out of that. Hebo is taking some damage from Bacchus, but there is no follow-up from the rest of his team, who's kind of stuck in a decision here whether they want to find that Shock or not. We do see Fire Giant being pulled by Medusa and Eset. And it is secured, and Hebo does actually get a kill there in the 2v1 situation. Very unfortunate to see for the Helix Housewives here with Midgard now 5-man Fire Giant level leads and a significant gold lead. We're going to see probably a push down lanes here. And what do you think that the Helix Housewives really need to do here to try to maintain this fight? Because it's now Fire Giant. Where do they put their final stand at?
I'd say just wait for these Phoenix pushes from the side of Midgard. Look for these Bacchus flops or Serbolts. You do have, unfortunately, beads on 4 of the members here at Midgard, but even this E-set, if you can manage to pick this E-set, makes it that much easier to just pick apart team fights. You have much less peel to deal with. And I'd say personally, very easy to kill mages. Hubble and Morgan do just kind of die, especially to a Bastet and a Serb. There is a level lead there, but if you can take somebody like that off, or even burn beads off of those 2 mages, just look for these fights.
We are seeing the Midgard Serpents not really posturing together. It looks like they're just kind of individually doing their own thing, but no retaliation or groups up from Housewives is able to get a kill over there in the solo lane again. It is now a 4v5 with the full team having Fire Giant. Expect probably a pushback and into a Phoenix, and unfortunately, with that Phoenix being an extra player still, it's going to be a 5v5 even at that Phoenix. Bacchus ult and a Crush coming out, barely doing any damage to the Shock, who is now level 20. And he has his Caducean shield over here for some extra healing.
This may just be a free Phoenix here as Bacchus has to go back. There's going to be no frontline posture on the side of Helix.
Minions are pushing up in the right side Phoenix. It looks like the Surges are just going to safely take that Phoenix. Bastet grabbing Hebo with the ult, who is actually taken down by the Bastet as well. It is now a 4v5 with the solo laner spawning back in for a 5v5 in between these tier 2 Phoenix and Phoenix and T1 tower.
Not fully certain as to what they're trying to do here. Maybe they're just trying to look for a pick.
Possibly wait for the minions to run up as well. Shock does go in, gets rooted, but however, ult out of that root is looking to just do damage over to the Scylla. Almost completely takes it out. Phoenix does fall for the rest of the 4 members, and it looks like it's going to be a full push onto the Titan. Medusa does ult in. Izanami follows up with an ult. Morgan switches into Medusa, who ults. Scylla ult follow up. Not quite enough damage. Doesn't make it to anybody. Izanami almost falling. Cerberus caught out a little bit with the full team healing back up. Significant poke out, however, due to the fountain, they're able to stay in, but now they are targeting the Titan, which is slowly starting to fall. Huge Scylla crush, however, pick over by Mori, able to just do assassin-like mid things.
30% could just end the game here.
Bacchus,
Excellent.
huge belly flop, hopefully gets in a successful stun. It looks like he does not have it, is silenced out by Eset. Most of the team is relatively healthy for the carry. We do see a couple members low, the Eset and Shock, the front line kind of being a little bit low. Looks like they're going to maybe posture over towards this Phoenix.
Just gonna give some time for the C-set to heal up off Fire Giant, take Phoenix, and then they'll head back in. Falco is flopping on this right side.
Cerberus is stunned out by the Eset. Not really a lot of damage now coming out of the Eset as we hit these late game. Supports are definitely getting more tanks. A complete 0 to 100 there from the Morrigan to that Scylla, who gets a full combo off.
Ollie Proc is definitely putting in work as well.
Just that's
More
what
of
I was
a
looking for. I was
one-shot
like,
build
there's no
today.
way that didn't happen without Polly, and there it is.
It's definitely a Morrigan special. Cannot think of very many other mages that almost always fit that item into the build. Makes it very potent for one-shot combos, as you just saw.
Yep. Successful full ability kit hit. Shock just being annoying, it looks like. He does, however, get the blink from Hebo, who ults, and at this point, that Hebo ult's hitting for over 1,000 damage, and that's more than enough to take off that jungle. It looks like Shock and Hebo are looking to poke down, possibly wait for the rest of the team to engage. Cerberus does ult, taking Shock. However, Shock follows up with his own ult, just looking to be annoying. Scylla ult is popped, looking to take damage into the backline. Does hit the Hebo, but enough damage out of that Shock to end game number 2 in favor of the Midgard Serpents.
That was quite the game. Again, excellent showing for Midgard Serpents. We did see a lot more fighting back this time around. They did put up quite a lot into it. I'd say even heavily pressured comp or more heavily pressured comp from Midgard Serpents.
I definitely agree. The Housewives definitely had a lot better showing in these laning phase. However, when it came down to the team fight, the gold and XP lead just seemed to be too much, like we'd seen him in game 1, and Midgard Serpents do cleanly take that game 2 as well. I will step away for a moment and let you and Ying kind of do a desk review. Once we're back, we'll take a short break just to get everything set up, and we'll be back with you guys.
Shall see you all there. And we are back.
Welcome back,
An
everybody.
excellent showing in general for Midgard Serpents. I was very impressed. Do you have anything to say on those games, seeing, or shall I take
Must
it from
say
here?
that it was a very, very strong showing from Midgard Serpents. They truly shown that, you know, they're the stronger team in these games. Exciting to see how Helix Housewives are going to come back and show up and show that they kind of, you know, belong in the top of the division. But I must say, Cutlip really showed out and really gave them 100% for sure with this game. Congratulations to him, especially on the Raw game. It was insane, actually incredible. If I had to give anybody an MVP in that game overall, it would definitely have to be most without a doubt, Mr. Cut the Lip. You know, he showed out completely with the Raw. He came out guns blazing with the Morgan, setting up a lot of, you know, getting a lot of kills and everything like that.
I
And
would like
you know,
to
there's a
point
lot
out.
of people. Oops, sorry.
I would like to point out in chat, you are correct. It is Midgard
Yeah, that
Serpents
is me in the
2-0 and not
picture.
Helix Housewives. But yes,
Oh,
definitely he
you're talking about the
played out of
wrong
his
chat.
mind in the.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Sorry, sir.
I would like to say though, you are definitely correct. He did play out of his mind in that first game on Raw. It was much harder for him to find space around those fights as a Morgan. Did play it very well. Morgan transformations were on point, just allowing him to have a lot of single target pressure. The team as a whole has shown that they know how to play pressure on the map. Smite, name of the game, is always pressure. Very well played from them to recognize that. Just keep drafting very high pressure at both games.
Without a doubt, yes. Without a doubt.
Outside of that, we do have an interview. Can head on to that. Get our lovely guest from the Midgard Serpents on. Shall be right back with them. we are back with our lovely guest, A1. Hello.
Hello again.
Right. Ying, do you have any questions for him, or shall I take this?
You got this, King.
Right. So, both games pressured. Were you guys expecting or heavily playing around having that much pressure, or did it just kind of fall around you having that much pressure in all three lanes across both games?
All three lanes, not exactly. I was expecting it with the first game with the Yorm going into Odin, just because Yorm's early game is very hard to play against. Yeah, it's like that. Like it just happened. Like that's about all I can say to that.
Definitely. In terms of in terms of that raw gameplay, I know obviously he's not here, but was there any uh talk in the comms like, oh, like doing excellent here? I'm curious to hear how that was going.
Yeah, that was a thing that was going on for a while, and you could probably notice a peak of it when, well, I sat there for like 3 seconds just looking back and forth, and nothing was happening. So
Definitely had like
it's pretty obvious
three.
to see with
Yes.
Yorm.
Definitely had like 3 or 4 blind snipes over walls. That was actually excellent to watch from our perspective.
Yeah.
And in terms of solo, you feel like you played well. Is there anything you would have done differently in those games as a
Not
solo?
play chalk into Cerberus. As much as I end up winning lane, you don't get anywhere.
Definitely
Least
seemed to
with the team
still
can steal.
have enough of potency in that game. Had a lot of picks on that backline. Definitely well played from you.
Well, thank you.
Ying, do you have anything else to say, or?
No, not really. You guys played amazing, especially in the first game and the second. You guys just kind of blew them up, lights out. Is there anything that you guys wish like any mistakes you guys noticed along the way on these two games? That you guys didn't realize necessarily in the moment, but after you looked and finished the game one, for example, or game two, is there anything you guys kind of talked about and kind of tried, what is it, discussing and figuring it out, like any misplays on everybody's part, or was it just overall like really job well done?
I'd say it was just job well done. Like, there's small moments, but there's nothing crazy that stood out. Like, hey, we can't do this again, or anything like that.
Yeah.
No major moments occurred. It's mostly just small, minor things, which is how every game goes. You can just learn from the small mistakes and go from there. It's not something you really talk about as a team. It's just a small thing that happens. You take a notice of it as yourself, and you just go with it.
No, yeah, that is most definitely true. You guys played amazing. The set was really fun to watch, and job well done on you and your team's performance. Great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. I believe I have no more questions. Same for you, Ying.
Nope, that was everything.
All right. Thank you, A1, for popping in here. Definitely nice to hear your input on the game. Well played to you.
Thanks.
Right. Believe that there's nothing else. Could take it to a break and then should be good.
I could just do the closing notes right now, guys.
That works.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. This was week 3 of Animosity Smite League. This was our Jotunheim division. For those that aren't aware, we do have 4 divisions: Jotunheim, Midgard, Vanaheim, and Asgard. We will be streaming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 1 game a week. If you guys aren't aware, we have a Discord where everything is held. You can find the link in the description. We will also be posting the VODs on YouTube under Animosity Smite. Till next week, guys, we'll be signing off. Have a good rest of your evening.